I'm Gene Colbago,
I'm Roger Carroll.
and welcome to Teacher Web Pages. This is Phase 2, which is a nice word for Part 2. Student Progress Monitoring. What does that mean? Well, in the next hour, we're going to hopefully show you several easy ways, and we're going to break into this gently, several easy ways that you can put materials on your website that your students can respond to, which they can submit to you. And with that, why don't we get started? Let me get rid of this thing. Okay. And let me get rid of this thing. Okay. Okay. The first thing, just mention it. You don't have to go there now, but you are eventually going to have to get to your Office 365 account. Many of you have done this, but if you have not done this before, you can either go to, there was a an email sent out by Mr. Granieri some time ago, and of course the page, I just closed the page off, I wanted to show you. That had this page in it, and it shows you 4 easy steps. You go to www.office.com and put in basically the same login that you use in the morning. The only difference is in the morning you don't have to put @nfschools.net. Okay, so it's the login you use in the morning plus nfschools.net, and your computer password, the password you use to get onto your computer in the network, and it will take you then to, if we're lucky, this page. And this is the page that you will use in a little while. Okay? If any of you have any trouble logging on, you can let us know. Also, you can go to the registration page, the page where you registered for today's webinar, and we have that link, that attachment that I just showed you. It's there also, okay?
And if you do need assistance with your username and password, it's not working for whatever reason,
yes,
the person in the IS department to contact is Melissa Cacciatore, mcacciatore@nfschools.net. This is her realm of oversight.
Yeah.
And again, if there is a password issue, it's Melissa Cacciatore,
Mhm.
not Diane Spicone. This is Melissa Cacciatore for Office 365.
Yeah, and I sent one down this morning, and she has responded already. So they are getting to things pretty quickly. Okay, now before we show you what to do, let's show you what we did, okay? So first of all, this is the web page that Roger helped create, basically, last week. And I've added a little something to it. But what I'd like to do is show you this just to get you started. Notice I have my email here, but as Rod said last week in some of our webinars, we were not putting the active link here anymore. We were just putting text here so parents could copy the email address, paste it in their email, and send it to you. Now, here's an easy way to do it. Do you see here where it says quick for parent questions and concerns? If I just click on this, here is a page that opens with a Microsoft Forms form. Okay, parent questions, please your name, and you have questions, and they can submit it right there. They don't have to go to email. They don't have to do anything else, okay? And it's pretty fast. Oops, I'm getting ahead of myself, okay? Where am I supposed to be? Oh, I see. I know what happened. I apologize. Let me go back here. Okay, so that's one of the things we're going to show you today. Let me show you the next. See this? This is my literature assignment page that I made. And in it, you'll see some directions here, which I'll show you in a second. And then we have 2 assignments. All right, Monday, Tuesday. Each of them is a short story. And I'm sure, unless you have the greatest eyesight in the world, you can't read those. And down below, we have 2 different little things, 2 different ways that that students can respond. And I will show you that in just a minute, okay? How it works, how to do it. And it's pretty simple, okay? Pretty simple. Now, if I go back, hopefully to my page here, and hopefully it opens up. Sometime it takes a moment for the pages to show, see? It just slow that, I don't know why. Okay, it'll pop in, one of them. It doesn't want to pop in, okay. Come on. Okay, well, we got this one now. Anyhow, it will pop in. First of all, for the student, how does the student do this? And then I'll show you how you do it so the student can do it. Number one, here's the story. There's a little pop-up here that's talked about right here. You click on the pop-up and the story opens up. Wow. Please read the story, then follow the directions at the bottom. Okay? Blah, blah, blah. They read the story. Now it says, now click on the link below. Now, if they've done this, they've clicked on this link below. It says, click here to complete your response. There it is. There is a form that when they finish it, it asks for their first name and last initial. We're shying away from first and last names, but okay. Class period, if that's important, if you need that. And by the way, this is kind of set up for high school right now, but it can be adapted to any level pretty easily. Then a couple of answers. In a complete paragraph, describe the relationship. Why do you feel this way? Okay? And then they can submit it. That's an assignment right there. Okay? This one still hasn't popped in, huh? Okay. Yeah, it's just, again, because I've got so many things going on my computer, it doesn't want to. There we go. Okay? Now, this one, you notice that I, down below, when I clicked on this, it took me to a forms. There is another way of doing it. After they read this assignment, they can scroll down and the questions are right on the page and they can actually do it right here and then hit submit. Now, you say, hey, that looks pretty complicated, but it's not. It's very, very easy. And let me show you how I did it. Okay? Okay, I think I'm here somewhere. Okay, I've just gone to, this is the page that I used to create it. Now, last week when we were beginning the webinar, the web pages, we recommended to go over to layout and make sure that you've selected this particular one column simple. But now you're getting into it. There's some really great web pages out there, as Mr. Lurie said. Maybe you want to try a little different layout. And what I've selected over for this page is the one over here. And what it is it has, let me get up here a little bit, a link at the top, then a link, or a column here and a column here. There's a little thing at the bottom too that I can put something in, but I haven't yet. Okay, so that's how I created the page. And I just followed, when I created this, let me go back to my apps. Come on, apps. I dragged a content app here. This is a content app. And I just put my stuff in here just like you would. Okay, materials. All right, I finished that. I put another little content app here to deal with the information introducing the short story and what they should do. Those are things that we covered last week, and you should be able to do that. That's no problem. Now, here's a little cool little new app. It's called the Document app. And over on the right, you'll see it there. And when you highlight it, it says Document Viewer. And if you drag that over, and I did it in each column, click on it, and over on the right, it will allow you to go up and select a file just like you were uploading it. And once you've selected it, you hit Save, and then it will do a view as it was doing when I was showing you. All right? So we've done that. The last thing that we did is this. On this side was easy. I just put in the words, click here to complete your response, and I put a link. which I'll show you in a minute. Over here, I did something a little different. If you'll remember, the actual form appeared right on the page, and you might want to try this because this is, I think it looks really good and really professional. Over on the right is a thing called an embed code, and you drag it in. You know how to do that now. And if you click on it, there's a certain code. Boy, that looks impressive, but it's very, very simple, okay? It's very, very simple to do. All right, we'll show you how to do that as well. Now, where did I get those forms for down below and for the embed code, and what the heck is Microsoft Forms? Okay, so now you can see how I did my page, from the 2-column option, the various options. Let me close this page off. I'm just going to hit save. Okay, I had the layout to that, so most of that I think you can follow. Now, let's take a look at Microsoft Forms. If you go here, when you go here, you will find your apps, and one of them will be Microsoft Forms. It may not be in the exact same place, but if you click on it, you'll be taken to a place where you can create forms. You won't see any because you haven't created any yet, probably, unless you have. Anyhow, we have several here. One of them was parent questions. That was the one that I had put on the front, my welcome page, where parents can send in questions. If I click on it, you'll see, wow, it has leave your name, please leave your name. Leave your name here. I don't like that. Okay. Please enter your name. I should change that. Well, I could if I wanted to, just by clicking on it, but we'll show you that later. And the rest of the questions. If I want to get out of this, I'm just going to go over to up in the top left where it says Forms, click that, and I'm out of it. Here's the story of an hour, the one we just talked about, and here are those questions, okay? And the other one was The Chaser. That was the other short story that I had on my page. How do you create one of these? Well, it's very simple. Now, you'll notice over here that there are two types of forms. One is called a form. I think it used to be called a survey, if I'm not mistaken. And one is called a quiz. Raj is going to show you quiz. It's really cool. Probably just as easy, but a lot more choices and a lot more things you can do with it. But the form we thought we'd show you first is also pretty easy to do. What you want to do is click on New Form, and this is what you will see. Right here it says Untitled. So that look about right. Okay, we'll just call it that because this is where we are. Okay. All right. Okay. You can put some directions there or whatever you wish. By the way, over here, if I wanted to put in a picture or a little video, I could do that as well, but I'm not going to right now. I'm just going to do that. You can play with that. Very easy to do. Now, here's where we add questions. For forms, I like to use forms for text-based questions. These are the ones where the student has to type a paragraph or even more to get it done. There are other types of questions Raj will be showing you in just a few minutes. But I'm going to click a text question, and here it is. Wow. Okay. How are you doing? Okay. Now, down below we have two little things here. Required. Okay. And this is allowing you to have the student type more. We tried looking up what is a short answer. I don't mean to get you sick there bouncing back and forth, but a short answer, what we found out, holds about 4,000 characters, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 500 or more, 500, 600 words. So that's pretty big, but if you click long answer, you could probably put a short thesis in there. It said that it's unlimited, but I don't know if there is an ultimate limit or not. We haven't been able to find that. This means required, okay? And there are some OR settings, but that's all we need for a form. We only need one other thing. Over here on the right is something that we need to do. Up here, it says more form settings. We need to click on that, and we need to go to settings, because at first the default setting says only people in my organization can respond. Well, that would mean that if you put that form up with that setting, your students, when they went to click on that, they would be asked to sign in to their Microsoft Office 365. And that might cause some confusion for some of them. It's just your basic school logon, their name and password, but it might cause trouble. So what we've been doing and recommending right now is anyone with a link can respond, because you are going to get the responses. It won't really matter if it's more in the public or not. Okay? So we recommend that you do that. Again, over on the 3 dots, settings, anyone with the link. We recommend that. Also, theme, if you don't like that color, you can go in and change colors. Okay? You can see that they're changing slightly behind you. Okay? And you can play with that for a while if you like. Now that I have this done, just showing you up here, this preview is really good too. It will give you an idea of what it looks like for the computer. What if your student is going to do it on a mobile device such as a phone? There it is, what it would look like on a phone. Okay? Raj will talk about this, the immersive reader, and it's pretty good too. Okay. Now, we've created this. How do we share it? Well, how do we get people to be able to use it? Well, first of all, we need to go back to the creation, and this is where we can create it, okay? By just clicking on this, it'll take you there. And we can share it. Raj, you're going to deal with responses, right? I think he is.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
okay. I won't touch that, but that's where you go to get all the answers the students have sent in. But he'll deal with that later. Anyhow, when you want to share this. Well, that means where do I get the information to put on my website? Share, we can use either. This is a link, all right, a URL link. This is a QR code. Well, some people might want to use that, but right now, most people wouldn't. And this is an embed code. So these two are probably the more popular ones for our websites, okay? Now, excuse me, if I did this, notice I get the word copy. And if I click copy, it'll say, okay, it's ready for me to paste. I could then go back, pick the wrong one, to my web page. And down below, I need someplace to paste it, so I dragged in a content app over here. I click on it. I added some words which are going to appear. Click here to complete your response. Okay, I type those in, and I highlight them right away, because when I go to insert link and I want to click it to a web address, and notice it pops it right in the text to complete. I could then just paste the web address there. Okay, I'm going to cancel it because I don't want to do that right now though. And save it, and that would be done. Okay, so that's how you put the link down there. Now, if you want to get fancy, and down below, see the place where, if I can get down to the bottom of my page, where people can actually do the work right online, where they can type in their information right on there, and that's kind of a cool thing. It's pretty easy too. If you go to, I'm thinking it doesn't really matter. Story of an hour. I'm sorry, I need to be at your Microsoft Forms. Okay, you need to go to your Microsoft Forms. Let's pull the chaser. We would hit share, but this time, notice it says embed, copy that embed code, okay? It's ready for you to paste. Very simply, go back, and what we did was we dragged that embed code in here underneath because that's where we want to see it. We highlight it, okay? And then we paste that here, all right? Now, I know you're not going to remember these numbers, but these two numbers here represent the size of that on your page. And I have found out that 720 by 405 works really well in here. But if you just take the embed code, pop it in there, it'll be fine. And then do a save. And then when you do go to your web page, you will have that form, Microsoft form, embedded right there. I like that one. Okay, I have to admit I kind of like that one better, but you can absolutely just put a link here. And that's how you do it. This is several ways that students can do this. You can put whatever you want here. I mean, they can be work pages, whatever. And then you create a form to go with it, and you can have students sending back responses. Are there any questions I can handle before we switch to you, Raj?
I think I've covered some of them. You can take a look at it and review them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're okay with a couple of sound issues. One just popped up. You can take a look at that.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay. All right, we're going to make Raj the presenter, and Raj is going to take you through the other thing called quizzes. Okay?
Yes, good afternoon again, everybody. We're going to take a look at another way to monitor your students' progress, check them for understanding, see if they're getting it, as you no doubt do on a daily basis in your classes. Raise your hand and so on. But now through the medium, and here the medium is becoming the message, this internet thing, and your web pages, you're going to go about it in a little different manner. So we're starting off, as Gene kind of did, on his page, and I'm going to scroll down my page. My page is now located at 79th Street. We had a little fire to put out earlier in the day here. So I'm going to be sending you this page at some point. But here is my home page. Here are the links that Gene was talking about. Okay. Cursor changes to the little hand. There's a QR code. That's another way to get people to do it. Here is the embedded format of the quiz we're going to take. All right, so that's what it looks like when it's published. Now let's go into our Microsoft Office 365 forms. I'll go back here. This is where we always start, right? Okay, you're familiar, or perhaps not, but here is forms. Your students do not have to have an account on Office 365. They do because they're associated with the school, but they don't have to go there to do this. The parents don't have to go there to do this. Gene showed you one of the options under Share is with a link. You could send that link to your sister-in-law in Seattle, and she could take the form. She could answer it, respond to it, and you would get it back. So there are lots of easy ways to integrate this. If you're in an Office 365 Teams and you've been working with Office 365 right along, you can embed a form in your Teams and send that form to a particular group of students and so on. This is for your web page. This is how you can gauge how they're doing and get feedback from your students, from the families, and so on. As Mr. Laurie pointed out so often last night in the webinar, let's think who the audience, the intended audience is. It's your students, okay? Now, in a slightly different manner, you're reaching out to them and you're asking and calling on them to raise their hand or submit some work and so on. We have to do it here, okay? So let's take a look at Office 365 again. There is no difference in the questions you can ask between forms and quiz. Okay, Gene, can you mute? I'm getting a
I
background.
apologize. You know what's happening?
Okay, there we go.
I'm sorry, I got a
The
bad
difference,
button here, and it keeps popping out. So again, let me know.
difference between a form and a quiz. A form is, think of a form as a survey or as a poll. You're getting back information, you're getting back feedback, and it may what you may want to find out here and there. Gene pointed out an excellent use for a form to the parents. You could put a form on your web page, your parent, and it could be, you could ask any number of questions, you can ask anything, and they could respond to it, and you will get it back. And I'm going to show you what that looks like when you get the forms back. Where can I look at all of the answers, all of the responses, all of the quizzes? Okay, so this is a quiz. These are quizzes, and they function similarly. Okay, I want to point out to you though, when you get to this page, just in your office, in your forms, in the upper right hand corner, there is a question mark, and that's a help button. And it's pretty good. If you click on it, you can put in a search term and find out just about anything you want to know regarding a form. Okay, there is such a thing. There's a little advertisement in there. They say, oh, if you buy advanced forms or forms pro, well, we're not buying anything. We're using what the district is providing us. But the help screens are very good. All right, so let's take a look at the quiz that we're going to build. Actually, it was built. I'll show you how it was built for this afternoon. And you're going to be taking this quiz, okay? At some point, I'm going to send you over to my page, and you're going to do it. All right? Now, here's the page again. You can preview it. You can, as you build your form, as you build your quiz, you can take a look at what it's going to look like when it's published. You can change the theme. We haven't even talked about that, but you can make it, you can pretty it up for your students. I can add some graphics on either side of the form. I can make the background a different color. I can add some images. I can even upload my own. I did that practicing for one of the ones I was working on. So you have some nice creative options if you want to go there as well. Okay, so we can preview it. You can change the theme. We can share it, as Gene already pointed out. Here are some options for sharing, and he already pointed out you can share it as a link, you can share it as a QR code, and it can be embedded. You could actually email that link to someone. You can also share it as a template. You can share it to a fellow teacher, teaching the same grade level, the same subject, and so on. Or you want to get really out there, you can share it and you can view it and edit it together. You can collaborate on a particular form. If you're doing some grade level checking on understanding and kind of formative kind of assessment, if you like, you could do that collaboratively. That is an option. We're not going to go into that right now. We just want to build a form you can start working with. Next to the share button, we have some settings. These are important. I'm kind of bothers me that they hid them under these three tiny little dots, okay? More form settings. For the form that you are creating, there are some things you have to decide, okay? You have to decide in these settings, do you want to show the results of the form automatically? When a student completes an activity, they can see the results of their choices automatically if you turn this on. It's a little slider, okay? There. You turn it on, you turn it off. Who can fill out this form? You can restrict who does it. For our purposes here, we're going to let anyone with the link respond to this form. You could restrict it to only people in the organization. In other words, if they have an Office 365 account, they'd have to sign in to work with the form. And you can click that, and then you can say I want it to record the name, and I only want to allow one response per person. Well, let's say in an actual testing situation, that is exactly what you would want. You'd want some restrictions there. Okay, here are some other options for responses. Yes, I do want to accept responses. That's already checkmarked by default. If you're doing weekly checks and things, maybe you're doing something you want, like the quiz on Friday, or the assessment, the formative assessment on a Friday, you can time this to start on a particular date and end on a particular date. You can also, if you like, shuffle the questions. Now that's more appropriate for in-class use. If you're working in small groups and are working collaboratively around a table or a work center, you would want to shuffle the questions so that no two students sitting side by side or shoulder to shoulder would be looking at the same questions at the same time. You also have the option, as you'll see, to shuffle the responses within a question. You can customize the thank you message. When the quiz is completed, I'm using the word quiz in the generic sense here of forms. When it's completed, students will click the submit button. The submit button will immediately pop up a custom message. So you could thank them, you could say something, okay, now go turn to your reader, or now do something else, but there's a way of thanking them. Here are some other considerations. Notification. Do you want your respondents to get an email that acts as a receipt that they sent this in? No, not for this, okay? But you could. Here's another option you might consider, depending on the number of students you get. Do you want to get an email? This will send it to you and your school email because you're signed in to your Office 365 account. It knows who's creating and working with this. Do you want to get an email for every response, every submitted response? Well, think about it. If you're a secondary teacher, you might have 125 students. You're going to blow your email inbox into blathers if you click that. You will be able to look at all the responses within a forms, and I'm going to show you that. But that's entirely up to you if you want to do this. This, I don't think, is going to work for a student because they'll be taking most of this, they'll be doing this outside of Office 365. Okay, so we've covered it. Options for the quiz: show the results automatically. I like that option, especially if it's a check for understanding. Students will know immediately if they got something incorrect, that they made the right choice, and so on. And there are some other things building the questions that you might want to incorporate in that as well. So anyone with the link, we're going to accept responses. If that wasn't checked, people would complete it and it wouldn't go anywhere. Okay, you can have a specific start date if you like, and a specific end date. You know, when's your work due? Friday. After Friday, I won't take it. So you'd put an end date. That works and doesn't work in different situations. Alrighty. So you have to check the settings though. Okay, and the settings are number one, and in the sharing, who can take the quiz, who can fill out the form. Anyone with the link. Okay, let's go back here. And then now let's look at the quiz, for lack of a better word, check for understanding, a formative assessment, whatever you like, that we're going to work with. I made this up. Okay, so this is the header. This is what your quiz will be named. You do not have to do a save as. Whatever you put in this first line is what your form is going to be known as. Okay, So that's there. This is an automatic count. You don't touch this. You can't touch this, okay? I built a simple little 5-question sample quiz, 20 points each, adds up to 100 points. It can be 1 point each. It can be whatever you're used to doing with your students. Okay. So the first question is, enter your first name and last initial. And notice that's required. This is how you're going to know what students to give credit to, what students took the quiz, how they're doing, and so on by name. Enter, the directions are, enter your first name and last initial. This is standard for a thing. No one on the internet's going to see this, okay? But we want to get into this mode of we don't fully identify students. This is going back to that whole security thing and identity protection that the superintendent was talking a bit about last night. First initial, last name. So I put in, this is a subtitle. Question, the subtitle, I give the example. And then down here, enter your answer, enter your response. This is where the student would type in their first name, last initial, okay? And it is required. Here are those 3 little dots. They appear for every single question, okay? There are some other options. This is a text box. We could allow a long answer. Well, shorter the better for this one in particular, right? The 3 ellipses, subtitle, okay? There are some restrictions. We'll show you that. That's easy, okay. So now we've got that. In the secondary school, you might want to put in, after they log in, after they indicate their first name, last initial, you might ask what period of the day they take the course. Or if it's a phys ed teacher, or one of the specials, it could be an A day or B day. So tell me what day, A or B, and that would be a choice. And then what period of the day. It's a number. That's what is a restriction. And this, I'll go back into this question. Here, look at, this says restrictions. I can restrict my answer to just numbers. And that comes in very handy at the end when you start want to sort things out, okay? So here we are in a question 2, okay? Are we now in spring season? It's a yes or no question, okay? I got yes, no, maybe. Questionable with the weather we're getting, okay? Get rid of that. So if I typed in a new question and my first answer was yes, this question would say, oh, is your next answer going to be no or maybe? Well, that's what happened here, okay? And which is the correct answer? Notice after each question stem, you have an option to delete that option. You have this little symbol here. This will display a message if somebody selects this answer. And this is where you indicate that this is the correct answer. You can, depending on the type of question, you could allow multiple answers. It might be which states border on New York State, and you would give a list of them. So, and many of them would be a correct answer, right? So you could allow multiple correct answers. Again, this is required. Students must answer the question. If they don't answer a question, the quiz, the form, cannot be submitted. It will draw their attention to whatever question on the form or the quiz is that doesn't meet the criteria, that was not answered, okay? Here's a math question. There are 36 girls, 39 boys. How many total students, okay? So I answer that. It's a math statement. Which one of these is correct? You make some choices, all right, and indicate that. Multiple answers? No. Required? Yes. Anything else here? You can, here, because of this style of question, you can shuffle the options. Remember back up here on the settings, you could shuffle the questions. Here you're just shuffling the answers. And it could appear as a drop down where the question would be asked, and then immediately a drop down would appear for them to select their choice for an answer. Okay, and the subtitle is something that appears underneath the question, maybe some additional information that might help the student respond. We're not going to talk about branching. It's really cool, but we're not going to talk about that now. You might want to investigate that. To oversimplify it, if they pick the wrong answer, you could branch it and give them another chance, or you could give them a little tip or a hint on how to arrive at the correct answer. All right. Okay. Here is a text answer. The correct answer, because who is the governor of New York State? Student person would respond here. And here are the correct answers. We add these in. If they don't select either Andrew Cuomo, Andrew Como, Cuomo, or Como, those are the only forms of a correct answer that will be recognized. Anything else would be dubbed incorrect. And you can add many of those options. Try to predict how students might answer that. It might be, Andy or whatever. This is takes a lot of trial and error on this one, but this will work for you too. It's a text answer, like if it's a short answer question, or a fill in the blank. The blank could be a number of acceptable answers, and you would include those there when you create the question. Again, it's required. Okay, let's move on. Where's my mouse? Okay. Question 5. What is the answer to the math statement below? Oh, math talk. Okay. Here's the question stem. This is like a subtitle. What is the answer to the math statement below? So this would appear below the statement. And it is math. Over here, at the end of the line, notice this says switch to text. If that was text, you would just enter an 8 plus 7 off your keyboard, right? There's intelligence behind this question. I switch it to math. Now, if I want to go into this question, I get a new keyboard. This is all on the screen. If it's a touch screen, great. If not, you use the mouse button to click the correct symbols. X would put the letter X. 8 plus 7 equals X. It does, doesn't it? Or Y. It could be exponents. It could be a fraction. Then you got all your brackets and all these equal to, less than, greater than, less than, not equal to, all the math symbols that I'm sure you're familiar with if you do teach math. All right, so we're just going to leave it at that. I'm going to say, okay. The thing is, it asked me it did the math, and then it said add all of these as answers to the question. Okay, I think I really messed this up, but let me go back. I'm going to get rid of these just I don't want to confuse you. Let's get rid of this. 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 Okay, let's get rid of this. But let's say add them all. Watch what happens below the cursor. It added all of those options for possible answers, but it already picked out the correct answer. Okay, let's go on. Complete the statement below. Okay, fill in the blank. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer. Complete the statement below. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's what? And here are the answer choices. Okay. This really, come on now. If someone picks and the sorcerer's wife, they got problems. But what I did over here was, see this little bubble, like a caption? I can, if they picked that answer, I would then typed in and said, "Ah, come on now." So you can give them a little shove, give them a little nudge, or in this case, make fun of them a little bit. Come on, you don't know the answer to this. Or if it's a math question, that little prompt might be a reminder to a student that they maybe didn't do the functions in the right order or something like that if it's math. Okay. After each one of the 5 questions, I input, you'll notice up here, no points. Down here, 20 points. Down here, 20 points. Okay? I gave a point value for each question. If I had added another question, I put in whatever the point value is. If you remember when we started all this little information up here tallied the 5 questions that have point value and added them up to produce the 100-point quiz. Okay? Let's preview it. You have many options for creating a simple check for understanding, a little progress check along the way. You don't have to use any points at all. You can use the form. You can use the quiz. The quiz doesn't have to have points to it. Those could all be blank, and it's just who got it right, how many they got right, and so on when they did it. I think we're going to see the upper grades. A lot of students can take these on their smartphone. All they have to do on their smartphone is navigate to, in fact, highly recommend that you have, and then you recommend the Niagara Falls City School District app, and they can navigate to your page within the app, find this on your page, and take the quiz and submit it when it's all done. If I try to submit this now, I'll get an error. This question is required, okay? All the questions are required. Look, I scroll back, none of them were answered. So I cannot submit it. I won't accept it. It's got to be complete. Okay, let's go back. Now, bear with me. I would like everybody now to go in their browser, open your browser, and go to 79th Street School. Go to 79th Street School. So wherever you are, select a school. If you're already at 79th Street, good for you. Go to Teacher Web Pages. Find my web page. C, Carol, Temp Trainer. There's my web page. And take the quiz. Then we're going to back up and I'm going to show you how I put these in. Okay? You can take the quiz by clicking on the link where it says sample quiz. If you want to, use your smartphone. Take a picture of the QR code. That'll get you there too. Or if you just simply want to take it here, this is the embedded form as Gene showed you. You could take it right here. Answer each question and then click submit. And I'm going to give you 3.5 minutes. I'll give you 4 minutes. Again, open your browser, go to 79th Street School, click on my teacher webpage, Carol, go down and take the quiz. Should have a little Jeopardy music playing in the background. Alexa, play some Jeopardy music. There we go.
Jeopardy, main theme by Knight's Bridge, starting now.
There you go.
Amazon Music.
Thank you. we will go back into Microsoft Forms and show you what happens in 2.5 more minutes at 1:52. Let's call it 1:53. Okay.
You've gotten 30 some responses coming in already. That's good.
Wow.
That's good.
Somebody might have snuck ahead. Thank you, Alexa. Stop. There you go. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but I made my day.
Okay. Yeah, we're kind of stuck at 34.
We're going to 79th Street School. Teacher web pages for me, Mr. Carroll. And on the home page, scroll down, take the sample quiz here, maybe the QR code, or do it right there as it was embedded. Okay, we're going to come back here. Whoop, to 57. We're doing really well, guys. Another minute and a half, and we'll show you what happens. All right. Okay, very good. Let's refresh a mundo. 59. If you don't want to take the quiz, okay. No credit. 461. Excellent. We're getting there. What was our total, Gene? How many people do we have?
What did I see? 105. So.
Oh, come on. We can do that better than that. Let's go. Let's refresh this. 61. Okay, maybe we didn't want to take the quiz. Too early, it's too late, it's too hard, it's too easy. Okay. One more minute and I'll show you what becomes of the responses and how you can then use them. We're up to 65. I'm looking at that number here, 66. Okay. I think it might even, as I look at the responses, it may even continue to tally. Okay. If I had accepted that option to get an email from every response, my inbox now would have 71 responses. I don't want that in my inbox. I can handle it here. Okay. One more refresh. Let's take a look. So I go back into my forms. Okay, here it is. We've got 72 response. There are two tabs here. This is a little hard to see the distinction here, but here's the question tab where they can be edited, where you create your questions. Here's the response tab over here. Now I'm looking at notice it's still active, so people could still be adding their responses to it. Here are the questions. Well, question number one is really, I could go into the details here. You could look at how you could dig down into this, okay? Okay, I want to go back in here, okay. More details, 74 responses. Here, the average score is 95.7. So the class you were learning today, it's still active. All right. Let's look at some of the detail here. There are several other options here. For each question, you'll see a little indicator. You could drill down a little bit, get some more details here. All right. Everybody got that one right. Wow. That was either good learning or easy questioning. I go with good learning. Okay. Who is the governor of New York? Okay. A couple followed the format. There were some nasty responses this morning. I won't go into those. Question number 5, 8 plus 7. Okay. Got that answer right. We're all math scholars. And the statement below. All right. more details. Any one of these, you could dig a little detail here. Let's go into some where we got, well, okay, I'll click on the more details here. Okay. This says anonymous. That's because we did not select the setting option for students to sign in. If we required you to sign in, your name would appear here. Since that wasn't the case, it all appears as anonymous. But because of our number one question here, the responses are here in this column. Notice it says anonymous here, but those are the students. They all signed in with their first initial, last name, okay? So we will know who they are. Let's go into a review. You can review each of the answers, okay, for each and every student. So we could find out if Karen or whomever in your class, Bobby or whomever, where they got correct and incorrect answers. All right. Here are by question. I can look at question number 1 and see who got it right and wrong. So you could do a little disaggregation of the data here with this. And this is just built in. We didn't do anything special. We added 5 questions, just followed the prompts, went through, okay? Let's go back. Now, here is a nice option here for those daring or familiar enough with Excel. All of the results of this particular quiz can automatically be put into a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. I'll open it up, it downloaded, and then all of the answers and all of the responses are in a spreadsheet that you can then tinker with. Okay, there's drop downs for all of this. If you're familiar with Excel, you'll know what they are. If you aren't familiar with them, I just probably gave you a headache. Don't worry about it. Okay, now look at this. Post the scores. In a perfect world, we're far from it, but when you click the post the scores option, there is a marriage between PowerSchool and Microsoft Forms. I think the IS department has to do some background work to get there, but I haven't touched a pen or a pencil. I've given a quiz or an assessment to all my students. It's been automatically corrected. I can post those scores right into my grade book. They're working on that. We are not there yet, but it's coming, and it's just as simple as clicking on a button. Okay, let's go back into my web page. Let's go edit my web page. I'm going to go into the editor, the site manager. I am in the wrong spot. I don't. Did I sign in? I'm gonna sign out and sign back in. I want to see that edit button, okay? And I still don't see it. I don't know what I did wrong here, Gene. Go into.
I'm sorry, I was doing an answer.
Site manager.
Yeah.
Hell, here, that's my sample. I don't know where I ended up here. Well, I want to go back to what Gene was showing you. Gene, you want to take it back? I don't know what happened to.
All right. What do you want to show? Let me get my.
I want you to go into the editor and show the embed, what we just did here.
Oh, absolutely.
Actually, it's a review of what you did with the embed code and the link and so on. Don't bother with the QR code.
Okay. All right. Yeah. the embed. Yeah. All right.
Why don't you take it back?
Okay.
You
Do I
got
have it now?
It looks like it. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. At my page, what Raj I think was trying to show is how to put an embed code down here, which is the that page where the students can actually do the work right on the page. So to do that, if we go, let me get up into my Microsoft Forms. I got to get in here. Okay. Now, this is the one that is the story of an hour. Raj has gone through how to create the questions and the responses and the preview. We talked about the theme. By the way, just real quickly, somebody was doing this, and please don't forget to go in and anyone with the link can respond. Because if you don't do that, you will have trouble embedding. A couple of people said that they've got messages that they can't put the Microsoft login page or contact link or whatever there. So if you see that, just go in and make sure that it's anybody with the link. Now, to do that, just go to share. Okay, and once you're at share, there is, well, that's the link. And if you put your mouse on it, QR code, no, we don't want that. Embed. Click on that, and it will put this code in here. And all you need to do is hit copy. All right. Once you're there, I can do it again and I'll take it out. You would go over to your apps, bring an embed code over. I'm going to put a new embed code here. Okay. I'll click on the embed code. That's the new one. And there's nothing here. And I copied it, so I'm going to paste it. And it will paste that information there. And hit save. Once I go to my, I don't know if this is it. Yeah, form and refresh it. I should have two of those. I got to go and take one out. But okay, and if you go down, you'll see the second one. See, we just put another one in there. Is that what you wanted to show, Raj?
Yes, and I just like to screen back one more time.
Okay.
I left people hanging.
Oh dear. I don't want to do that. Where did I find sharing? Okay. Okay. Alrighty, and you should have the screen back.
Okay. Thank you. I want to go into the forms, and I just answered a question. You can reuse a form. What
Yes.
I did here, forms quiz example Tuesday. Here is the one I used for this morning. You can reuse them, absolutely, and it's a good idea. Or make a copy of it. If you open this up, here at the ellipses, those little buggies, copy it. This would make a duplicate of this form right beside it. And notice how this little number here is a 2. This is a 1. This is a copy of this. And all I did was redo it. This has 76 responses. After you have done working with the responses, and I strongly recommend that you save the Excel spreadsheet, no matter what, because that's your record. Because here, if you look at the responses, one of the options here, more options, the 3 little dots, is to delete all the responses. But you can print a summary as well. I would either save the Excel spreadsheet or print the summary. This is going to come up. This is a summary. All right, several pages long, but it's a summary. You might want to keep that. I would prefer to keep the detail right down to the students and so on. Okay, but here we are. Again, go to the response tab. You can clear the responses, so you can reuse it. But once you've cleared them, you can't get them back. You can't hit a back arrow after the oops. All right. We think it's a simple tool to start with, just like we did with building the web pages. Start with a single content app. Now people are getting some confidence, trying out some of the other apps. Go for it. This forms is now building that bridge that the superintendent's very intent on building and getting the two-way going. I think it's a great idea to use this to get some parent information. What is your internet access at home? What kind of, are you sharing one computer? How many students are at home are you working with? Maybe there's one computer and there's 3 kids at home and they all need, what's going on there? Just get some feedback to how it's going. Ask the parents what they feel they need the most support in doing this. Get that information. Start gathering that, and we'll share it. We'll crowdsource it, and give the superintendent some feedback on what you're learning with this. Again, we're writing the book as we go along here. Nobody's done this before. We're learning every day. We're learning every webinar of how to manage all this stuff. Okay. Any follow-up questions?
Yeah, Raj, somebody said, are you at the 76 responses? Can you go in and show where you can see the individual scores?
I'm at the individual. Let's see. I'm going to review the answers. Okay. Here are the respondent number 95.
Yeah.
Okay. These are the individual scores here. Now, I can't put a name to them unless I open up
And if
my Excel spreadsheet.
And if you clicked on any of those, you'd get all of that information, how they answered each question.
I clicked that. Okay, it took respondent number 119 49 seconds to complete it. Pretty impressive. Respondent number 18 took 1:03. Well, you get a whole lot of data. Okay.
Okay.
You could look at some of the questions here. Here we go. You could drill from just about any angle you can think of. As respondent number 1, okay, that response. There's a lot of ways to look at this. Mm-hmm. It's data. Play with it. Take a look at it.
Yeah. One more. Someone. It's kind of a tough question.
I love tough questions.
Well, no, it's a pain in the neck.
I'll just plead ignorance.
First of all, it says, again, it won't, our school laptops will not print.
At home. They cannot print from home.
Yeah. So somebody
There's
says, how
a whole
do I
lot
print
of permissions going on there. That was asked and answered last night in the webinar.
Yeah. Basically, though, if you open that in Excel, okay, then when the Excel sheet opens, save it and email it to your home email address. You know, you all.
Yes.
Most of you
if you have another device at home.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's about
the only way you can. And
it's a pain. It's not. Where? Okay. Can you save as a PDF? The Excel file. Yes.
Yeah, you can save an Excel file as a PDF.
What you do? You know what? Do we have an Excel file?
I'm going to get one right now.
Okay, you're not. I was just loading one right now. Okay, you got it.
Well, I got the screen. Open up in Excel.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the form down here in Excel. It's opening. It's opening. Enable editing. I go over to File. I go to Save As. Going real fast here. Save as what? I'm going to save it as a PDF file.
It's down under the name. Right under
there.
The name. Mm-hmm.
Right there. I can
Why don't you click on that so they can see that without all? Yeah. See, now you have the name.
And it might open it up even, actually. Let's see. Here's the There is that Excel file as a PDF.
Okay. Someone said, wow, someone says, I have a wireless printer and can print from home. That's interesting. Can you
Well, I'll tell you, when I had one, I was able to do it.
Okay.
But
well, we don't have the laptops now, so we can't check it.
Yeah.
Anyhow, can you save the quiz as a PDF? And I'm not sure you can do that.
No, unless you take some screenshots of it.
Yeah.
No, there's no option to save and print that I have come across. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Feedback. There, give some feedback. Tell them you want to be able to print it out.
Can you print it if you hook it up via a printer cable?
I think that's the problem.
Yeah, you'd still need to put the printer drivers into the.
I know I was able to
won't
print.
allow you. Yeah.
I printed from my district, but I didn't know if it that had a workaround because we were rarely in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Wi-Fi, I was able to find my printer and install it.
Interesting. Okay. And again, yeah, even if you hooked it up wired it to your printer, probably wouldn't work because it doesn't have the driver, so it wouldn't understand the proper
Yeah.
direction.
Good questions, good
Yeah.
suggestions. I think we need a definitive answer on that. If you can, how do I do it?
Yeah.
But I think the answer is in that Wi-Fi thing, and like you say, maybe the new devices that are out there somewhere. I think he said in the warehouse at BOCES or someplace will do it.
Yeah. I tried to paste from forums to add a form for students to ask questions. If you're talking about the forms link, the URL is a very, very long one. That's why, I don't know, Raj, do you, okay, can I have the screen 1 second?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
couple of
there's one thing here that people, yeah.
couple of things we've seen that you want to attach a link or a file to some displayed text when you do that.
Yeah, right here. I'm right here. Yeah, what I did again, I went down here and I put in a content app, typed in, click here to complete your response. It's a lot, that's a lot shorter than the URL. And then I linked it to that. Okay. And if you have questions about that, let us know. Okay. But yeah, you have a very long. Okay.
I recommend, and Gene and I, we create a sandbox on your school teacher web page. Add a new page and call it something silly, or just call it sandbox, and go in and try these things on your sandbox page, and then just make that inactive from time to time, so you
Yeah.
could see what these look like before you bring it up to your actual home page or create a new sub page, and just see how they look and how they work.
We have another good question. Can you upload images, pictures as either a STEM or answer choice? Not right now, as I know, right, Raj? Like in first grade.
I'm not
Which one is
that.
it? All right, the question, number one, which one is a zebra? And then you have 4 pictures of animals. I don't think you can do that right now.
Oh, you asked that before, right? I don't think that's an option because
Yeah.
in the quiz, you can obviously upload an image, or as we said, even insert a video into the questions down, but not in an answer.
And can the students upload screenshots for answers? And that is part 3 or part 4? Yeah, right. Part 3.
Yeah, it's at least part 3.
Yeah, there is a way they can upload, but we haven't gone into that yet.
Yeah, we did baby steps with the teacher web pages. We got, we were crawling along pretty good. Now we're up and we're toddling along, and now we're about to really take some strong steps here with this next piece to the big puzzle we're creating and or solving maybe. There's a lot more coming. And I'm glad we're getting these questions because people now are starting to see the potential and want some more.
Yeah, hey, and we hope that as the questions come in, first of all, an hour from now, you'll be getting the thank you, and there's a survey in there that asks if you have questions. Be sure to put your questions in, or email me, Gene, or Roger. We'll be very, very glad to answer your questions.
Challenge us with some of your quizzes. Send us the link, send us to your page, challenge one another, your colleagues in your school and so on, just to get a good feel for this, because really, once you get it down, you could get a quiz or a form developed and insert it on your web page in name that tune in 30 minutes or less. Easily.
Okay. All right. And again, with that, we'll say have a nice afternoon. Have a nice week.
Look for the video posting. It might be this webinar.
Yeah,
I don't know who the lucky one's going to be.
This one wasn't bad. Okay.
You're getting there.
We'll maybe put it up and see if we can beat it tomorrow.
But it's going to be up. On the TRC webpage where the previous one was for building web pages, this will be there for working with Microsoft Forms. And as soon as we can get it there, then you can, as we suggest, sit with your computer on one table, and next to you, you can have your smartphone or a tablet or another computer and go step by step, pause, do, and so on.
Yeah, and if you're welcome to join us again if you really want to, though, and we'd be glad to see you. So,
Yeah,
with
extra
that,
credit.
with that, yeah, we will say have a nice afternoon, and we hope to see you on a webinar again soon.
Yes, stay safe, everyone.